Well, we are so excited to have Sean Entin on my show. Interesting story. When I couldn't talk at all, and I was so devastated with the prognosis that the doctors told me I would never talk again. I would never read again. I would never write again. My mom, my mom found Sean Entin's video and sent it to me. And with a little note that my son read, he can do it. Look at all he faced. Suck it up and do the work. And it was amazing to read the story. So I am really excited about having Sean on my show. My mom, thank, thanks, mom, for sending me this video because it gave me hope, and hope is everything. So share with your friends, like the page, and like the show, and it will be good. So without further ado,
That was quite an intro. Thank you so much. I mean, it's often I've been posting for years now, and I never know where it's going to go or who's going to see this. But you're one of the people I consider to be part of my following or my pack because I think the community is what is really needed to happen. And so, thank you, Paul, for believing in me.
I did. It gave me hope, and I um, Tom Broussard was another one that somebody sent me a video, and I was shocked at how well he could talk. So, um, what? Tell me about your stroke. What happened?
I was 39 at the time. I lived the life. I built everything I needed. I had everything I wanted. I lived in San Diego on the water, married at the time with two daughters, had two companies. Both were taken public at the time. My partner was Shaquille O'Neal, and life was great. I mean, I was running, I was training, I was in top, I had everything I needed. I was good. I was ready to even start to think about retirement in a sense. And then all of a sudden, I was working with the Navy SEALs in San Diego, and we started to train. And I was always a big fan of jujitsu. I actually got caught in a chokehold, and the choke happened on the right side of my neck, the carotid artery. It's common to get choked out, and you lose oxygen and blood supply to the brain. Well, it's a routine exercise. It just happens. I didn't think anything of it. I went home on one night, and I was like feeling this clot in my neck, a bruise. And you get a bruise, you keep going. I'm an athlete. I'm a high performance athlete. Not a big deal. But what I did not know, the carotid artery dissected and it split and it started to break.
How
And it sent
long
me
ago before you had your stroke?
probably that 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I should have passed away in between that and the stroke. So I was in San Luis Obispo at the time for Thanksgiving weekend with the family, and I woke up one morning up there, and I couldn't make sense of where I was, who I was. The room was spinning, and I thought, maybe it was too much alcohol. And it's Thanksgiving. We had some nice wine, and I went to the mirror, and I couldn't even identify who I was. My face was drooping. I couldn't lift
Wow.
my left arm,
Day
and
after Thanksgiving?
yes, the morning of. So it was that Friday, November the
Mm.
25th. And I went to go look at myself in the mirror, and I literally saw my soul leaving my body. And I said to Stephanie at the time, my wife at the time, I said, call my dad. He's a doctor. I think I'm dying.
Mm.
He immediately recognized and said to Stephanie, call 911 now. I think my
You
son's
having
having a
stroke.
stroke. And Paul, I didn't know what a stroke was. I didn't know. I mean, it happens to older people. I'm healthy. What is a stroke doing with me? But I couldn't identify with it. I didn't have the cognizance. My blood and oxygen to my brain was just fading. So I passed out. The EMTs came to get me. They took me to one hospital. They couldn't figure out in that one hospital what to do with me. They called a near hospital in Santa Barbara, which is probably about a 3-hour drive. There happened to be a neurosurgeon on that Friday in the ER. He called for the medevac. They helicoptered me from San Luis Obispo to Santa Barbara Hospital, where they brought me in. He ran some tests, and he went to work. And I thank God every day he went to work, because I should have passed away from the time I passed out to that hospital.
I understand they put you in a coma. What was your first thoughts when you woke up from the coma?
Okay, well, they put me in a coma. I was coming in out of consciousness, and I didn't really understand what was happening. But they said to me, "You're going to go to sleep for a while," and they induced a coma. And when I woke up from the coma after 10 days, I was discombobulated. I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk. I just come off the respirator. They were telling me to breathe. I started to scratch my belly because it started to itch. And my good friend said, "Don't scratch your belly. They try to take a piece of your skull off your head and store it in your abdomen." And I'm like, my brains are in my belly? I don't understand what's going on. So what they did was a craniectomy, because the brain swelled so bad that they had to take this piece of my skull off my head and store it in the fatty tissue in the abdomen.
Sean, wait a second, if you don't mind. Hello to everybody that's watching. I really appreciate you, Bill and Brad and Carolyn and Andrew and Lawrence and Bo. And so thanks for watching. So how did you handle the hand you were dealt? I didn't handle it well.
Oh, it was.
I didn't.
It was horrific. I couldn't speak. I couldn't understand. I was hungry. I was thirsty. I wanted to get out of there. Everything hurt. The sound, the light. My daughters were 4 years old at the time, and now and 18 months at the time. And all I wanted to do was be with my kids.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to SeaWorld every day. One's on my shoulder, one's on my chest. I'm active. We're going, and now I say to my dad, how am I doing? He goes, you're paralyzed. You're paraplegic. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm paraplegic, because half your left side of your body is paralyzed, and which causes, if you divide the body in half, everything from my left eye to my nose, my mouth, everything on down is gone, completely gone. So literally, someone took an axe and cut me in half, and it's painful. It's painful because you're on drugs, and then the drugs started to wear off and started to stop, because the pain narcotics, I was on such a heavy dose of Dilaudid and everything else, Oxycontin and Vicodin. When that came off, I had to find a sense of myself. I had to dig into my soul and go, okay, I don't want to be like this for the rest of my life. And I call that one of my aha moments, because I realized I needed to get off the painkillers immediately for myself, because I was too numb and it wasn't going to help me.
How did you handle the hand you were dealt? I was the speaker. I traveled for 37 years, 6 continents, spoke in 50 countries. All I did was teach, and I loved it. Teaching was my life. For me, to lose my ability to talk, to read, to write was like a world-class athlete getting paralyzed, because I use my voice for everything. Right. So when I thought about it, I said, I didn't even know what aphasia was. I never heard of it. And when they were telling me, all I could think about was not the business I had built. All of a sudden, I said, what about my kids? I want to talk to my kids. What about my mom? I want to talk to my mom. What about nothing mattered at that moment but being able to talk again. And doctors just, oh, you have to set the new normal. You, you only, so
Paul, you there?
I am,
Can't hear you, Paul.
huh? Can you hear me now? Huh? I don't know. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you, Paul.
I understand I can hear you, so go ahead and talk. I don't know why it's not playing.
I can't hear him.
I understand.
Who's going well? Well, we lost sound. Come on. It says keep talking, Sean.
Sean, can you hear me?
We can hear both of you. They can hear me. I just can't hear Paul.
Answer the question.
Sean, it seems like it's on your end. He's you can come over here. You can come over here. My mic. Can you guys hear me? Let's unmute me. Paul, you can hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, I can't hear you.
I don't know the reason.
Just keep going. Read the screen.
Read
Sean,
the screen.
if you can answer the question. Okay. Did you ever feel like your life was over? Yes, I felt my life was definitely over. It was tough. I mean, coming off the painkillers and the antidepressants was difficult. You know, so with me, I moved from the ICU at Santa Barbara back home to San Diego, where I went through intensive therapy, what's called acute post rehab. I called it my boot camp, where I started at 5:30 in the morning and went all the way to about 6 at night. I overworked, I overstimulated, I didn't rest enough. I think I did not find the common balance between the rest and then the movement. Did I ever get angry? Yeah, I was furious. I was upset. I was angry, but then I was so mad. But then I looked around and I created a mantra that says, I can, I shall, I will. And I just believe in that mindset. And I kept saying to myself, I can, I shall, I will. And I took my first step, I took my second step.
Wow.
And believe it or not, I wanted to get back into that gym because that gym I knew was going to be my place of my rehab. I wanted out of that chair and out of that bed. And I kept forcing that mindset over and over and over again of saying, I can do this. I want to do it for my daughters. I want to do it for myself. And I wanted to prove to the world what's possible. I really did.
Can you hear me at all?
Which loss did you? Okay, I experienced, today's loss is I'm still paralyzed on my left side. So I can walk, I can talk, I can drive a car. I had to relearn to do everything all over again. at 39, my brain was that of a 3-year-old kid. So I had to relearn everything. So I literally looked through my life at 39 and being able to reboot everything. So I looked at myself going, okay, if I'm 3 years old at the time, I'm 4, I'm 5. I had to relearn everything. I had to learn how to use the bathroom. I had to learn how to,
Wow.
speech therapy was so important, and doing those mind games and adding and reading and just understanding how things worked. So I was in rehab, inpatient rehab, post-acute care, and then I went back home to home health. And then from home health, I had to relearn how to use my house all over again. I didn't know how to walk the stairs. I didn't even know how to brush my teeth. And because my brain was too, just, it was so badly swollen. It was so tough. They tried to move my bed from upstairs to downstairs. We overlooked the water. People wanted to come over and see me. And I tried to get back into it. I tried to get back to work way too soon, way too fast. And that didn't work either. So I got real angry. I was upset. Yeah, there was definitely a part of me that was suicidal. I mean, I didn't want to live like this. I was just very much depressed, and and then once that happened, once I got out of my house in what's called home health, I went into a community reentry, where it was actually wonderful for me because I got a chance to be with other people like myself with brain injury, stroke, and a lot of them were veterans as well, because we lived right in San Diego, where we were around the Navy and the Marines. So I made a decision. I said to myself, it's not about why me, it's about what's next. So I wanted to keep moving forward, and I knew if I moved forward and kept going and going, but the problem was, Paul, is I didn't know how to rest or stop, because I had 2 companies at the time that were that needed my attention, and I wanted to still continue to make money. I wanted to continue to feed my family, and I did not know where this was going to go. I mean, it was quite tough.
How was your life before your stroke? Can you hear me?
Before my stroke, my life was wonderful. I was on top of the world. I had everything I needed. I mean, I was self sufficient. I mean, I was traveling the world. I had friends who were in the military. I had friends who were in the UFC. I just got back. We're traveling with Dan Henderson to his fight in San Jose. I was hanging out with Shaquille O'Neal. I was in Orlando in Shaq's house, going 1-on-1 with Shaquille O'Neal. He's 7'2". I'm a whole 5'10". I mean, I was doing things I should never have been doing, and I was fortunate enough. And then all of a sudden, I tell everybody it was God's plan for me to have this happen, so I can then get back to everyone out there.
Well, what was your aha moment?
What was my aha moment? Aha moment. There were a couple. A couple was meeting the people in the community who I realized had it a lot worse than me, and that I knew I had to pull out of my own stuff, my own head, and I knew I had to wind down my meds. I'm not telling anybody they should get themselves off meds, but those meds made me numb. They made me feel like they made me not feel, and I needed to feel. I needed to let go of that loss and that pain. I needed to cry. I needed to experience what it was like to feel again, because but the before me was really go 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 go. I taught, I led, I was working. I had a company, and I think this whole experience really caused me to have compassion and to be kind. And I was probably an arrogant sob, but before all this, because I didn't understand disability. I didn't understand what people use the cane or walking stick or the wheelchair, and I didn't want to sit in the chair and the bed forever. I wanted to get up, and I wanted to do. And what motivated me was to give back. Really was to teach and to give back. My mindset, I didn't have a choice. I mean, I didn't have a choice whether or not to say, I'm going to take this day off. I'm just going to sit here and feel sorry for myself. If I didn't walk and I didn't repetitively go to speech therapy and do the luminosity games. I'm sure we all know what those games are like, and they were hard. Simple math. People said 1 + 1 + 2 - 5 times 4. I mean, I was a finance guy. I was my ability to read too. I mean, my left eye is still partially blind. I'm still lower left quadrant blind. I still have to focus in on the screen and do things. But this is my new norm. This is what I didn't choose this path, but Paul, I look back now, we would never have been friends. We would never have met.
Exactly.
I would have gathered thousands of people who follow me now and help the veterans out there, help people live with brain injury. And brain injury is similar for all of us. I believe someone taught me, Sam Morris, who's one of my mentors, this, my body here is an inconvenience. The paralysis exists up here. This is just an inconvenience. And this I can get through. And the people I found along the way, my trainers, my coaches, my Gloria Rios, who's right here in front of me, who produces my podcast for me, with me, Adventures in Health, it's an adventure to find what works for everybody else. Nothing works the same for everybody. I can't tell you why someone's speech doesn't work and why my left arm is still paralyzed. All I can say is what I've done and what I keep doing every day. It's a constant effort to wake up and to keep
How
moving.
important is staying positive?
Stay positive? I have to stay positive. And let me tell you something. Stay out of the news. Stop watching the news. Stop watching the media. I mean, I got to tell you.
Exactly.
And stop listening to everybody tell you no. I hate no. I like yeses. I like I said, I can, I shall, I will. How easy is that to remember? I started this stroke hacker group based on, because I knew I had techniques on how to help people drive again, how to help people use a one-handed cutting board, how to work with one hand and a leg that's maybe 70% stable. I mean, I still hobble, I still walk around, but I'm not, before I was insecure and ashamed of all of it, but now I get through life. I just do it. My daughters still love me. People still love me. Yeah, was I uncertain, insecure? Absolutely. And that's part of who I am now. I still get depressed. I'm human. I think everyone's going to. I mean, especially with the COVID and what's going on now with everything else. But that exists up here. If you change this, and I'll say this, if you let go and you let God work, you're going to find your path. I think we're all part of that.
Well, I say that all the time. I'm a practice nut.
I'm learning to read lips.
Oh.
I'm becoming a lip reader.
Anybody hear me at all on the broadcast?
Comments. This is fun. I've done hundreds of speeches from ABC 7 to CNN to Fox. I threw out the first pitch for the Angels and the Oakland A's. And I'll tell you guys a funny story. There's Kevin Harmer, who I found in Santa Barbara, who's in a coma. And I brought some people with me onto the mound with me to throw out the first pitch. And, I played the baseball for 18 years. It took me to have a stroke to take the mound. But when the cameras came on me, I said something interesting. I said, I stand for those who can't stand for themselves. And Paul and you and I both speak for those who can't speak for themselves. And that's what aphasia is really all about.
How much did you practice?
If you can type in the question, Paul, I can answer you.
How much did you practice?
Okay, so everyone can hear Paul and me. Paul, if you can type in a question to me, I can answer it.
I did.
How did I practice? How much did you practice? I still practice.
I know.
I practice life every day. I practice loving. I practice caring. I practice my, I set up my own reboot system in my house. I get on a spin bike. I use oxygen therapy. I use the Theragun. I use the equipment that people may think don't exactly work in the FDA world, but the holistic world, the Eastern side and the Western side, have to come together to reboot the brain and reboot all of us.
How much
I practice every day.
How
much did I rest? I didn't rest enough. I still don't rest enough, Paul. I mean, resting is so key.
Either.
When someone gets into the beta stage or the alpha stage of sleep, it's when the body heals. And I can tell you, right after a stroke, my biggest advice for everybody out there, I want everyone to listen to this. If you have a loved one who's in the hospital and you feel helpless, let them be. Turn on some music, leave them alone. Go out. I tell everybody when I go visit the hospitals, the stroke centers, there's nothing you can do in the hospital. Your loved one is alive, they're breathing. Your job as a caregiver or care partner is going to come in a matter of moments. Go get yourself ready for what's about to happen, because your family does not know what to then do. It destroyed mine. It literally broke apart everyone around me because they
Really.
all felt helpless.
You know, for me,
And that's what it
everybody
really
can
comes.
hear me but you, Sean. How important is
Paul,
establishing a routine?
establishing. I have that I can share with people. I'm going to be writing a book called The Stroke Companion here for stroke hackers on how to hack the stroke. I got nicknamed the stroke hacker. There's people out there who've tattooed the stroke hacker on their bodies. I have a friend of mine, Tony Baudet, who I've never met, who's in Washington, who actually tattooed my "I can, I shall, I will" to his forearm. And it's about building. It's about finding people who are positive. Like attracts like. That's what I'll tell you right now. If you want to sit in sadness and anger, you can, and you'll find people with sadness and anger. If you want to be happy, you find a guy like Paul, you find a guy like Tony, you find a guy like myself. Come join us, and we'll take you on that route. It won't be easy. There's no cure for what we have.
Exactly.
It's about giving back and doing and letting go of what needs to happen. And like I said, it's not about why me, it's about what's next. And if you can be a constant position for somebody, and you can help somebody all I want to do every day is with Paul is create one smile every day, is create that hope and inspire everybody.
What about your goals?
What about my goals? My goals are so big that it won't even. I can't even explain. It's like, how high can we go? I'm going there. I want to set the world on fire. I'm going to be doing things with the veterans. I want to be doing things with brain injuries. I believe what's going on right now. Our suicide rate for stroke is up right now because the communities are shut down. There's nowhere out there. The veterans right now, we're at 22 a day. They were at 22 a day before COVID. Now they're up to over 40 people a day. These veterans who we sent overseas, they come back, and they share the same thing that we're sharing, Paul. I mean, depression, the paralysis. How are you and me supposed to go back out there and go work? I'm not exactly an Uber driver. You don't want me driving for Uber or Lyft or going to work for Whole Foods. I mean, I only have so much in me. One-handed shopping guy may be kind of funny. But you find ways to start to do things and create what's possible. Yes, I had to make fun of myself because humor heals as well. I talk to people all the time. It's like, it's part of life.
How
Any more questions, Paul?
important is hope?
How important is hope? Hope is everything. It's all we got. It's the same thing I keep instilling with everyone. If you got to dig, but you got to believe in yourself first. You have to love yourself first before you can love anyone else.
Right.
And I look at my kids every day. And I love them. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be here. I would not be here. You got to find your why. You got to dig down deep inside. And to be alone, isolated, it's horrible. It is by far one of the worst things. So I say the communities, and because we can't be in a community at the moment, it's tough. So we have to find our way to do this. And everybody out there, find Paul, text Paul, join his club, join the Stroke Hacker world.
Please.
And speak as much as you can. I don't care if it's slurred. No one's perfect at speaking. No one's got speaking out. I don't care if you're the best of the best. We're all going to stutter. We're all going to stammer. But you got to sit and you got to try to do it. And what I used to do is count to 100 and then 100 back. My ABCs, I would do it. I speak Spanish. I do it still in Spanish if I could. I still do it. You do what you can do and you keep going. And there's never a limit, especially with stroke. And I'll tell you something, everybody. Remember this comment too, Paul, is you and I were sitting in a period of time that in 30 years, there's going to be a stem cell, there's going to be a pill. You and I and this group here are really stuck in a place of purgatory, because my kids will never have to experience what we're going through. There'll be an exoskeleton. There's going to be stem cell. We are sitting in a place right now that they're going to look back and they're going to write books about us, or even tell movies or write stories, because we're having to live through this. I mean, who would have thought a craniectomy was going to happen to me? You know, I walk into a room and someone says that they have a headache or they stubbed a toe. I'm like, you guys want to know what a headache's like? I mean, try getting your skull taken off of your head.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have to put things in perspective. And I think lessen the rage, lessen the hatred, believe in the hope, believe in God, and believe in yourself, and find one person to create a smile with every day. Just one person. You don't need to be Schindler's List. You don't need to save everyone.
Tell me about your foundation.
Oh, my foundation. So, okay, my foundation is really what I found out early on, Paul, is if I didn't have the money and the insurance, the resources to really get my therapy, to get the hundreds of hours or thousands of hours to take those first steps, or to read, or to get dressed, or to use the bathroom, stuff like that, I wouldn't be functional. I wouldn't be independent. And my foundation really is supporting people to regain their independence, because I think that's what's needed. Help them define, identify, to have the certainty up here that they can do it. You know, I don't recommend anyone to drive at all for the first, couple of years. I learned to drive in a golf cart. I talked about this on my show. I didn't my left, my right. I was like figuring if I got into a golf cart, I was gonna go over a golf ball, maybe hit a tree, run over something. But start with that. Start with those easy things. And the foundation is purposely set forward to give these people tools to then become independent, because the healthcare system only gives us so many hours, as we all know. They're giving you 10 hours of speech, 10 hours
You
of
can't get
physical
well.
therapy, and
You
10 hours
can't
of
get
OT.
well.
It doesn't work for us, Paul. It's not enough. We need to be, our foundations out there are to give those people stuff needed in order to take our first steps. Walk to the car, put on our seatbelt, turn that car on, and then move.
Did you hit mute
I didn't hit
on
mute.
your
No,
screen?
I didn't. Oh, Gloria. It says I hit mute here. Sorry, guys. We're going to look.
Everybody can hear me, I think, but you.
And it's unmuted. I'm unmuted. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me, Paul?
I can hear you. So
What is my mission?
Go ahead.
My mission, Paul, is to join you and build a global message to help people out there with stroke, with brain injury, and depression right now, and to bring the unity and to bring independence into people's lives.
How much does your passion drive
How does your passion drive you? My passion drives me because, Paul, you inspire me.
Oh.
I'm serious, buddy. I really am serious. People like who I met, the Tony Beaudays, Matt Jacobs, the Brad Bermans of the world, the people who follow me and have become friends of mine that I haven't even met, they inspire me. Gloria Rios, who's in front of me here, inspires me. The veterans out there inspire me. Our first responders inspire me.
Exactly. How much more motivated today?
I'm so motivated, Paul. I mean, you can't. Let's go. My goal, you want to get motivated? I tell Gloria every day, when am I going to do my half marathon? She thinks I'm crazy. I want to do it because I want to show what's possible. I've done 2 5Ks. I've done a 10K. And this is somebody who they said was never going to walk. I was never going to walk again. I was like, you're challenging me to that? I'm walking. I walk every day. I get on a spin bike. I do my therapy. But I have to do maintenance every day to be in front of you. Every day.
Me too.
My speech is not perfect. My walk is not great. My arm's still paralyzed, but I still do it.
For me, I wish you could hear me, but I have...
What's my purpose? Yeah. My purpose is to reduce the suicide rate for people with stroke and depression and the veterans. Because I think people will take their lives way too soon because they lose hope and they lose the faith in themselves. And I don't want to see anybody. I got 2 daughters. I want to walk them down the aisle someday, a long time from now. I mean, they're 13 and 10.
You've
And I
got
love them dearly, but that's it. And I'll tell everybody, don't let fear paralyze you. Do not let the fear paralyze you, because fear will creep into your system at any moment and any time and shut you down. If you let that word come into your mindset, it's over. Fear caused me to slow down.
so I
And I'll
want.
tell you something else too, Paul. Hope beats fear.
Oh yeah,
Remember that. Hope beats fear. You want to kill the fear, you bring the hope into it.
I wanted to take you back. How did your
How
friends
did my
react?
friends react? Oh, they were scared out of their mind. They didn't know what to do. And that's part of the reason why I do Stroke Hacker, is I don't focus so much on the people with the stroke or the survivors or the thrivers. I focus on their loved ones, because their loved ones are more challenged than the actual survivors, because the loved ones don't know what to do, and they feel hopeless. There's more depression in the families of the stroke survivor
Mhm.
and the
Exactly.
loved ones than there is with us, Paul,
Exactly.
because we fight about it every day. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's like when you see someone in the hospital, I just got a call. I was like, get out of the hospital, go meditate, go for a bike ride, go do whatever, go for a hike, get out of the hospital. Your job's about to come. And I believe in meditation. I believe in breath work. I believe in resting is everything.
How
Quieting
did
the
your
brain down.
family react?
How about your family? My 2 daughters, my teenagers.
Yeah.
I love them. I'm trying to become a father. I'm learning about all that. I was taken away from my kids at a young age and re-identifying with them now, and they love me. That was the biggest challenge out of all of this. And my girls are big supporters now. Okay, tell me about the doctors. The doctors were supportive, are supportive, because I convinced my doctors on what to do.
Hmm.
I'm teaching them. The books which they're learning from in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, I challenge you, and I can challenge any MD on the planet. We
Oh
know
yeah.
more about stroke and
Yeah.
brain health than any neurologist.
Well, we lived it.
But it's our job to connect the doctors to us
I
and to
believe
teach them.
that.
Experience depression. Depression is horrific. It's based on fear. It's based on paralysis in the mind.
How do we spread awareness?
How do we spread awareness? We do it. I started with my 5 minutes with Shawnee. I have a podcast. It's called Adventures in Health. Um, I'm bringing a show, hopefully, to the networks, the streaming channels soon. Paul, I love to work with you on anything you want to do. I mean, I want to speak. I want to talk. I want to commit. I want to commit to this world, because there's only. I will tell you guys all something. The hope is coming, and I want everyone to think about this. And I'll be the first one to tell you, stem cells coming for all of us. There's a new prognosis of things happening in the medical research that will take us out of all this. We guys have to get through this period of right now. And listen, I'm 10 years out, Paul. I'm 10. I never thought I was going to be 10 years out with no left arm. Right arm works fine. The left arm is so slow. But Paul, let me ask you a question. Do I seem slow?
Nope. Not to me. Nope.
Right? We're not slow. We are moving as fast as we can, yet we have to find the balance in our journey.
You know, what's the greatest thing you have ever learned in your lifetime?
The greatest thing I learned in my lifetime now is compassion and kindness, to treat others with love and respect. And that's something that I had to go through to find that. I was a great guy before my show, but I didn't know this side even existed.
I got it. Fill in this blank. It's never too late.
Stroke warriors, yeah, we're stroke warriors. I mean, everyone out there, whatever the title you want to give it, we're gladiators, we're hackers, we're thrivers, we're survivors. And I think everybody right now in this COVID issue and what's going on in the country has to give up the word hate and has to focus on the goodness and allowing everyone to heal and allowing everyone to be themselves and don't hurt anybody and just
Exactly.
love. I think if you look at the commonality between all the religions and all the colors, the racisms, everything, there's one word that is a common thing for us, and that's love. Love yourself and love your partner and love your family and love your neighbor. If you can find the hope in the love, everything's going to be great. This is fun. I need to say something. I got Paul texting me. I got my producer who's showing me signs.
I need to say something. Everybody needs to understand we need to greet people with love in our heart. We need to take a kindness approach. And everybody just needs to chill and everybody love each other. It's so important. So, Sean, we're going to play a little game called 5 Questions. You ready to go?
5 questions. Oh, okay, let's do the first one.
Grit.
The strength, you gotta pull into it. You gotta face it. You gotta develop it. You gotta design. You gotta design the grit to become muscle and to become a place of not fatiguing. You got to build it up. You got to keep repetition. You got to keep going and going, but yet find the balance in the rest as well.
Exactly.
Optimism. Well, that's my whole life. I can, I shall, I will. I mean, you have to become optimistic and believe there is something coming. Every day is a new chance. If you wake up every day and take a breath, that's what you need. Every day is a miracle. Because Paul, you and I were both miracles. I shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. I mean, what more is there? I mean, and don't and the why me? Give it up. Give up the why me, because the victim to victor is what's needed. The trauma to triumph is everything.
What do you think about determination?
Determination. I've been saying it all along. You have to be determined. You have to reach in. You have to ask yourself what inspires you. That's what I say on my show. What's your inspiration? And that'll pique your determination of what it is you really want to do.
You know, I wish so much I could talk to you, and I have so much I want.
You got to type in the question, Paul. So.
No, I know. Believe
in yourself. Believe in the higher power, whether it's God or spirit or whatever you believe in. Keep believing and find the belief in the communities like these. Reach out to all of us. Everyone out there's got somebody who they can believe in. Faith. I think it's the same. I think you gotta have faith in what's about to happen. You have to have faith in God. You have to have faith in your life, and keep believing and keep going forward.
Exactly. You know, I believe in letting go, letting God, and trust. You have to look up, not look down. You have to look up. Sean, I wish you could hear me. I really appreciate you being on the show more than you know.
Thank you, Paul. You got to come on my show too, please, and let's talk.
We're going to redo this sometime.
More time together.
Here. So for next,
you take care.
Be blessed, and may the speech be with you.
I like that. May the speech be with you.
And
that's great. That's a good one. That's awesome.
And hope is on the way. Hope is on the way. Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, I think we are done here. That was interesting. I think we're going. He was literally us trying to find the feed. No, my messenger is blowing up for us right now.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know why you couldn't hear me. Because your sound was on. Your quality was off.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
I'll show you. Show the comment.
He was FaceTiming you.
Oh shit.
I'm going to shut this down.
Oh.
Sean,
Hey, buddy. So,
everybody can hear me except you.
oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry about that. How did we do? We do okay?
We did good. I just wish I could have interacted with you.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry for taking over the mic, but I just wasn't able to hear.
I know, but you did good. And
Okay.
we'll do it again sometime. It was really meaningful, and I just wish we could interact because we have a lot to say. We have the same philosophy, and I am so glad to meet you, and we need to do something together.
I would love to. And then Paul, let's do one on my channel with Zoom. We'll set it up, and that way. But share this Be Live video on both.
I do it all the time. I've never had this problem before in my life.
Okay.
So I'm going to investigate, but have a nice day. I have a podcast to get on at 12:30.
Okay, Paul, share the Be Live one on my personal page and the Stroke Hacker page, and then I'll get it out there. And then let's you and I connect, and I'll get you on my show. But Paul, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, buddy.
I think what you should also do is not just do on Zoom on our show, but go back and be live it on his again.
Of course. Okay.
Because now there's going to be even more intrigue because now